Hi, it's John Glynn, and today I'm going to be looking at the text tool. And this time the text tool I'm going to look at, which is in your toolbox under drawer, is the one down the bottom here underneath your photograph, text on custom path. Okay, I've again just created a blank sheet of paper from file. I'll just show you file, new and blank file. And it's just the default setting, Photoshop's own piece of paper. And you'll also want a layers panel open as well on the right hand side with the background layer, which happens to be the blank sheet of paper. And this particular tool, when you click on it, the text on custom path tool allows you to draw a line and then type along a line. So it has a limited range of options within the tool itself. So you can draw the line, you can choose fonts, but everything here that we have we can edit later anyway. So there's no particular advantage for changing anything at this stage, but it's up to you depending on whether you've got a picture here or not. As I've just got a plain piece of paper, I'm just going to draw a line, and I can make it squiggly or as straight as I like. At this stage, I can edit it by just clicking it. Now we do have the word modify down the bottom here. You can click on modify, so if I do that you'll find there's anchor points that are added, and then you can change the shape or whatever you're doing with your modifications that you want. But if you just do draw, I'm just going to do draw, and on this one, if you click on the line you get it to modify anyway, and then you can just drag and do stuff that way. So you can modify without having to click on the modify button if you wish. So if you're going to, I'm just going to redraw there, but you can double click the line or just click on the line with one left mouse key. I'm just using a PC and a mouse. You can make changes as long as you pick up that line, and then you can drag these anchor points around and change the shape of the line that you're doing. So technically you don't have to click the modify button, but it does allow you to do so if you wish. I'm going to undo all that because I've ended up with a really weird shape now, and just do a normal line. If you're happy with the line you've got, you can just say OK. It then becomes a line which you can actually write text along. So I can put my cursor close to the line and it becomes a letter I, and when I click once with the left mouse key you'll see a big cursor. Now the cursor there is huge, and that's down onto the size. I'm going to change that because the point size is far too big. So you may have to change the point size to either make it bigger or smaller. Okay. Once you're happy with the size of the start, you can always re-edit it later anyway, but it's easier maybe for starting to get it at least close to the size you're looking for, and then you can just type whatever you wish along there. You were here, and now that text is editable, so you don't have to leave it in that form. You can now change it to a different font. As you can see, as I move my mouse up the different fonts, the text will change shape accordingly to the font I'm using or looking at, and see which one I like. There's lots and lots of fonts in here that you may want to use. When you're happy with them, you just click on it and that becomes a new font. You can see what other choices within that font there are. In this one you get bold, italic, regular, etc. Not all of them will give you the same choices. You can change obviously the font size, so you can make it bigger or smaller. 18 is smaller, 9 is very small, 48 is too big in this case. So it's a matter of finding the font size that you wish. You've got a colour. Again, you can pick that up in this little square. You can change the colour. It will choose the opposite colour at this point. It's like a negative. So if I choose yellow, the text will go blue, but it will be yellow when I click the OK button. or red will be blue. It's the opposite colour. Cyan is opposite to red. Okay, so these are choices you can make later or now. You got bold, italic, underline and scroll through. Center, left align, centered is to the line. Okay, right align, not to anything else in the picture area. It's not being centered to the page, it's being centered to the line you're writing along. You can also change the shape of the text. So again, you can go to arc and change the arc along that line. So you're changing the shape of that line, the bulge. So you're changing the shape of that line and having an effect on it, so you can do all of that. So these shapes are available to you at this stage and later. So they're still there for you to edit later on as well. They don't disappear, so you don't have to make decisions immediately. I'll cancel all that. You've got tracking. Tracking is the distance between each letter. The bigger the number, the further away each letter is from each other. 0 and they might be really close. So there may be a setting that it does default for that particular text option, which is very often 10. Leading is between lines. I've only got one line, so there's no leading involved in this, but if I had this line and another line underneath, then the leading would determine the distance between this line and the next line underneath it if they're all within the same layer. Okay, not on separate layers, but within the same layer. The layers being on the right hand side, and there is a T for text. At the moment it's called layer 1, but once I tick the little green button or tick the green tick, it will pick up "Wish You Were Here" will appear under layer 1. Okay, so if I say OK, "Wish You Were Here" is now the name of that text. It's still fully editable because all I have to do is double click the T, and now I have the full options of the normal text, horizontal text type tool. All the options that I had are now available to me in this group anyway because of T. So I can keep on changing the font, I can change the size of font. Everything that was available to me before is still available to me now. It hasn't changed in that course. Okay. On top of that, you can move your text around. Double click the T, and you can move your text about. As you can see, if I hold the control key down and I'll find a little circle, all I did was put my cursor at the beginning of the text, I can change, I get a circle, I can drag it around and you can see the text will follow me. And if I move it up or below the line with my mouse, the text jumps. It goes backwards on itself. Okay, so just be aware of exactly how it's working. By just dragging my mouse above and below the line, I can change whether the text is above or below the line, or whether it's along the line, so I can drag it and push it if I wish as well along the line. Okay, you can do this at this stage or earlier. As long as it's editable, you can keep on changing this as often as you like. So you're looking for, in this case, a funny little X, but when I hold the control key down, I can pick that up and drag it, and it becomes a circle as well. Okay, so it's just a matter of getting used to using that little line and that little circle to move your text around. Once I've picked it up with my control key, I can let go of the control key and then I can move the text around. Okay, if you keep the control key held down, then it may not pick it up in the same way. Okay, it is a matter of putting it in the right position, holding the control key down, click once with the left mouse key, let go of the control key, and then you can move your text about and push it and pull it and up the top or down below. I'm not holding the control key anymore. Okay, the actual box that appears, I'm holding the control key down again, and I can then stretch it. I should be able to drag it up or down potentially. I can certainly stretch it, and I can also make it smaller. And also I can turn it. Okay, holding the control key down while I'm doing this. Letting go of the control key and the bounding box disappears. Push down the control key, the bounding box reappears. Hold down the control key and now pick up that line. Let's see if I can pick up that circle. There's the circle there now. And I can go back on myself just to see if I can get that text all the way back. Wish you were. And move that one along. Wish you were here. So it's just a matter of getting used to picking things up, holding the control key down, picking up these funny little star signs and circles, dragging them about. It's not intuitive. Okay, just be aware of that. It does take a little bit of practice, getting used to exactly what to pick up, where to put things, where to move them, just so that you get used to drawing the line and writing along the line. Once you're comfortable with doing that kind of thing on a plain piece of paper, you could then go to a photograph and do the same thing on a photograph. So if I wanted to, I'll zoom in a bit on this actually. I could draw a line along the bridge. So again, I click on the option for text custom path tool. I could draw a not very good line with a mouse along the bridge without letting go, but I did. I could say OK, and then I can start typing along the bridge. And you can see that I can type along there as if I wish to. Okay, it gives you an indication of what you can do. So it's drawing the line, typing on the line, saying OK, and don't forget that this will automatically create its own layer once you do the little green tick to confirm that you're happy with the basis of it. It'll give you a new layer, but that layer is completely editable. So by double clicking the T in the layer, you can re-edit the text, move the text, change it as you wish, just as you would do with the normal text tool. Okay, so do have a look at this. It's quite a good little system to use. I quite enjoy this one, and you can, and it's quite nice doing odd shapes along your pictures. Okay, have a go. It's quite a, as I said, it's quite a good one to do, and it teaches you a great deal about just using all the options within the text tool as well. So it's a good way to get used to using text. Okay, thank you very much for watching.